Welcome to Game 7 of the 1998 Eastern Conference Finals, where with 6 minutes and 52 seconds remaining, the Chicago Bulls are down by 3 points. Shockingly, the Indiana Pacers have the chance to do the impossible, to end Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls career on a loss. In this moment, Michael Jordan's entire legacy is on the line. We remember Jordan for never playing a Game 7 in the finals. We remember his walk-off shot over Brian Russell to cement his legacy. We remember 2 separate three-peats, the greatest feat the modern NBA has ever seen. But with under 7 minutes left to go against the Pacers, Michael Jordan's untouchable aura was on the cusp of evaporating. What had gone so wrong for the Bulls that they were on the brink of elimination, and how were the Pacers playing at this high of a level? Well, our full story is actually one of Michael Jordan's forgotten redemption. And in order to earn redemption, you first need to suffer failure. On March 18th, 1995, Michael Jordan had one message for the basketball world. 2 words: I'm back. This iconic return to the game immediately struck fear in every playoff contender, as even though the Houston Rockets did win the 1994 title and were now defending champions, nobody had taken down Chicago with a healthy Michael Jordan for 3 straight playoffs. But there was one problem here. Jordan returned late in the season, wearing the number 45 to honor his passed away father, saying that he wanted his dad to see him play his final game with the number 23. An admirable move, but with just 17 games left to go in the 1995 regular season, Jordan was forced to get into playing shape fast, and the results were shaky. Steve Kerr would say, "I wouldn't want that pressure. All the glory and the blame will be on his shoulders." The pressure was extreme. On the one hand, the Bulls did finish the season 13-4, and Mike averaged nearly 27 points per game. On the other, Jordan showed his rust. He shot just 41.1% from the field, the lowest of his entire career, including the Washington Wizards days. Still though, this was Michael Jordan, and Mike's own confidence headed into the playoffs were sky high.
You know, Chicago's got 4 of those or 5 of those players that's been on that championship team, so we know how to play in those types of situations, and that may give us an edge that people tend to forget about.
The Indiana Pacers in 1995 also had something to prove. Just one season before, the Pacers had actually reached Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, where against the Knicks, they led by 1 point with under 35 seconds remaining. They gave this lead up, but now down 1, Reggie Miller had a chance to win this game.
Indiana playing the clock. Here's Miller firing off the mark. Last touch. Now the Pacers with 4.
Reggie Miller missed, the New York Knicks made the 1994 finals, and the stage for 1995 was officially set. The Chicago Bulls were looking for a comeback run. The Indiana Pacers were looking to take the next step, and in the first round of the playoffs, things looked easy. As the number 2 seed, Indiana dismantled the Atlanta Hawks in a sweep, with Reggie leading the series with 31.7 points per game. For the Bulls, things were a bit more difficult. However, entering the 95 playoffs as just the number 5 seed in the East against the number 4 seed Charlotte Hornets, Michael Jordan quickly made a statement. His 48-point Game 1 explosion gave the Bulls a win, but the margin was just 8 points. Then in Game 2, now in Charlotte, Chicago lost by 17 as concerns already began to pop up. These concerns were quieted for a bit after a Game 3 Bulls blowout, but in Game 4, with 5.1 seconds remaining, the Hornets had a chance to tie this series.
6'10" Kukoc waving. Larry Johnson, 4-3, fade away from 17. Wingate! Harkins almost got it. The game is over. The basket does not count.
A miss, yes, but overall, this series was closer than expected, and up next for the Bulls was a much tougher challenge. The 1995 Orlando Magic were not only the top seed in the Eastern Conference, they looked like a potential young dynasty in the making. Shaquille O'Neal was just 22 years old, and in year 3, he averaged 29.3 points and 11.4 rebounds per game, while also finishing 2nd in the MVP voting. His wingman, Penny Hardaway, was just 23 years old himself, and he had just been named first team All-NBA. This was a fearsome duo, and as this series series went on, the cover of Sports Illustrated would read, "The Battle of the Titans." A fitting name, as in Game 1 this battle was obvious. With less than a minute and a half left to go, the Bulls trailed by 2 when Scottie Pippen was suddenly on a fast break.
The Bulls want to run. Here's Pippen for Jordan. Yes, and it counts. The game is tied, and Jordan will go to the line.
As this game went on, it looked like Jordan was about to do it again. He was about to come up with a clutch win, as with 25 seconds left to go, the Bulls stole the ball and they took possession. All Mike had to do was make some free throws, we thought.
That was picked off by the Bulls, and Jordan getting his leg in.
Suddenly, Michael Jordan was human. Suddenly, he was able to make mistakes, but he also had the ball in his hands with one more shot to go with the game on the line.
Jordan played by Royal. Jordan to Pippen. Michael had the shot, but decided to pass off.
With all eyes on him, Michael Jordan had failed at the end of a playoff game, and Nick Anderson let him know about it, telling the media after the game, "Number 45 doesn't explode like number 23 used to. Number 45 is not number 23. I couldn't have done that to number 23." Jordan's response? Against the rules of the NBA, which state that a player must declare a number and then play in that number, Michael Jordan switched back to 23 to begin Game 2 and would wear it for the remainder of the series. Mike would receive a $25,000 fine each game that he played in the number 23 for this playoffs, but it didn't matter. In Game 2, Michael Jordan was back. 4 steals, 4 blocks to go along with 38 points and a 10-point Bulls win. Michael Jordan was performing at the highest of levels again, and the Magic, they were not supposed to be able to keep up. But then, Orlando took Game 3, and they took Game 5, and suddenly, we had a Game 6 where the Chicago Bulls were on the brink of elimination. This game and this series would come down to 2 controversial plays.
Jordan, pull-up jumper inside to Longley. He missed the lay-in from Jordan. Can you believe it?
Was Longley fouled on this play? The referees did not think so, and Michael Jordan still had one more chance.
You don't want to give up a three-point shot or a three-point play going to the basket. Going to the basket is Jordan. About 3 moves inside Longley. Turnover.
As we know, in Game 7 of the 1998 Eastern Conference Finals, Michael Jordan's legacy would be on the line. But after this Game 6 loss to the Magic in 1995, it was very much on the line here, too. The Bulls had not only lost, Michael Jordan himself had made key mistakes during several clutch moments. This would need to be rectified. As for the Indiana Pacers, they actually got their revenge over the New York Knicks. As in Game 1 of the second round of the playoffs against the Knicks, Indiana trailed by 6 points with just 18.7 seconds remaining when...
Called. Actually, that is short of the record for both teams in a playoff game. Miller for 3, and he got it. And it's 105-102. And a steal. Miller retreats to the three-point line and hits again. Tie game. Miller hits 2. Reggie Miller scoring 8 points in the final 32 seconds.
8 points, 9 seconds, and an eventual series win in 7 games. This Reggie Miller scoring outburst is an all-time moment in NBA history. It will be remembered forever. Indiana as a team, though, in the 1995 playoffs, still had some work to do. In the Eastern Conference Finals, they did bring the Magic to a Game 7, where in that Game 7, they lost by 24 points, which meant Indiana went home with their ultimate goal still within their grasp, but with some clear work left to do. As for Michael Jordan, he believed the Bulls had a specific flaw that cost them this series, stating, "I'd like to think we were a rebound away, a power forward away, a Horace Grant away." It turns out he was right. Truth is, glory days are gone for Jordan. Bulls, the Chicago Tribune declared after the Bulls' 1995 playoff defeat. The paper read, "Here's the truth. Jordan's hour has passed." And that was the argument that followed the Bulls throughout the 1995 offseason. Not how could this team get better to win a championship, but rather, after a second round loss, should they dismantle their current team? Should they look to trade Scottie Pippen? The general public was unsure. Jordan had not looked like himself in the 95 playoffs, and in the 1996 season, he was going to be 32 years old and only getting older. Fortunately, the Bulls front office believed in their core. They thought a missing piece such as Horace Grant was the answer. Grant had been a key player on the Bulls' first three-peat, but Chicago had let him sign with the Orlando Magic in free agency. They needed a replacement, and they swung for the fences, bringing in their former enemy, Dennis Rodman. Rodman was a fixture for the bad boy Pistons teams back in 1989 and 1990 that not only sent the Bulls home in the playoffs, but also went on to win back-to-back championships. But while Rodman did have title experience, he also had a pretty bad reputation. He stayed out too late, he partied too hard, he loved the celebrity life a little too much, he gave the front office too many problems. That is what was said at the time about Dennis Rodman, but the Bulls took a chance here. The Chicago Tribune greeted this move with the headline, "Disaster will come from this desperate move." Sure, in the 1996 season, Dennis Rodman would average 14.9 rebounds per game, making everyone who doubted both him and the Chicago Bulls look foolish. In 1996, Chicago put together one of the best seasons in NBA history, then setting the record for wins in a season with 72. They started the year 41-3. They trampled over teams on the way to an 18-game win streak. They were as dominant of a squad as we have ever seen. And Michael Jordan suddenly went from being doubted, suddenly went from his legacy being on the line to winning his fourth MVP on a team that could make basketball history. Because the Chicago Bulls' dominance continued in the playoffs. In the first round, down went the Heat in 3 games. In the second round, the Knicks went down in 5. In the Eastern Conference Finals, the Magic were taken down in a 4-game sweep. Mike's revenge against Orlando was swift and it was brutal. In Game 4, it was even rumored that Jordan missed 2 free throws on purpose to rub in the win. As already leading comfortably late, Mike went to the free throw line with 45 individual points scored, the number he was wearing when Nick Anderson had trashed him. At the free throw line, Mike supposedly missed both free throws on purpose to end with 45 points, making a statement that his old number was good enough for a series deciding victory. As for the Pacers, an eye injury to Reggie Miller ruined Indiana's chances, and they lost in the first round to the Hawks. But after some nearly instant revenge on the Orlando Magic, Michael Jordan and the Bulls were thinking bigger. Jordan had prepared for this in the offseason. While filming Space Jam, Mike had the studio build him a full gym so that he could practice day and night while shooting the movie. He worked relentlessly, and nobody at the time really knew just how much Mike wanted this redemption, but ultimately, a fire had been ignited in him, and the Chicago Bulls entered the 1996 NBA Finals with an 11-1 playoff record. They had a real chance to make history. They could surpass the 1983 12-1 Philadelphia 76ers as the team with the best playoff record in NBA history. The only thing stopping them was a 64-win Seattle Supersonic team, led by 2 second-team All-NBA selections in Hall of Famer Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp. The Sonics pushed the pace, they shot threes at a high level for teams in that era, and Gary Payton was named the 1996 Defensive Player of the Year, a complete rarity for a guard. This was a team that was built to at least compete with Chicago, but at first, none of that really mattered. The Bulls jumped out to a 3-0 series lead, and if they won Game 4, there would be no doubt that this was the greatest team ever assembled. To prevent this from happening, the Sonics made a big-time change. They switched Gary Payton onto Michael Jordan for the first time in the series, and Game 4 did see Mike shoot just 6 for 19 as the Bulls were blown out by 21 points. Payton is still remembered for his remarkable defense on Michael Jordan in these finals, because in Game 5 again, the Bulls went down, but this time, Mike did shoot 11 for 22 from the field. But overall, the Bulls had dropped 2 straight, and now a Game 6 loss would give the Sonics all of the momentum headed into Game 7. This was not an easy game. Mike again struggled versus Gary Payton, shooting just 5 for 19 from the field, but Dennis Rodman grabbed 11 offensive rebounds, and the Chicago Bulls etched out a 12-point win, giving them another championship and building in their heads the idea for a second three-peat. And the 1997 season was almost just as easy for Chicago, as while the Indiana Pacers missed the playoffs entirely, the Bulls won 69 games and again breezed through the playoffs, reaching the 1997 finals with just 2 playoff losses. This time though, against a Utah Jazz team led by Karl Malone and John Stockton, the Jazz came out swinging and gave Chicago problems early. The 1997 finals began tied 2-2 before Game 5 would give us another all-time iconic moment from Michael Jordan, as it was reported headed into Game 5 that Michael Jordan had the flu. Now, whether this was food poisoning, the flu, or some other form of sickness, Jordan was in visible pain throughout this game, but still managed to deliver. With the game tied and under 40 seconds remaining, the ball went to Mike and
Here's time. 10 on the shot clock. Pippen making Hornacek. Here's Jordan.
a 3-point lead that the Bulls would never relinquish. 38 points from Michael Jordan. The Bulls take Game 5, and now in Game 6, we have almost the same story. This time with under 20 seconds left in the game. The score is tied and
the game clock. It is Michael Jordan time. Scottie Pippen looking for Michael Jordan. Checks the clock. 5 on the 24. Here's Jordan. Did not have the shot. Did not have the shot.
A clutch shot by Jordan down the stretch in Game 5. A clutch assist by Jordan and basket by Steve Kerr in Game 6. The Michael Jordan redemption tour was officially in full swing. No one was thinking about the failures of 1995. No one was thinking about Jordan's mistakes against Nick Anderson and the Magic. Instead, we had a new question. With 2 titles out of 3 down, could the Bulls stay focused and complete their second three-peat? Is the Jordan dynasty the NBA's best ever? After the 1997 championship was awarded to the Chicago Bulls, Sports Illustrated asked the question that was on everyone's mind. The magazine read, "The Bulls will have a chance to do what once seemed unthinkable. Take a place beside the Boston Celtics of the 1950s and 60s as the 2 most imperial dynasties in NBA history." The Showtime Lakers had won 5 championships in 9 seasons from 1980 to 1988. Suddenly, with 1 more win, Michael Jordan and the Bulls would cement themselves as undoubtedly the best dynasty the NBA had seen in the modern era, and the best dynasty the league had seen since Bill Russell's Celtics won 11 of 13 championships. In just a few years, the Bulls and Michael Jordan had gone from doubted after their loss in 1995 to on the cusp of immortality if they could win just 1 more title. But the Indiana Pacers were not going to make that easy. While the Bulls did take the top seed in the Eastern Conference in 1998 with 62 wins, the Pacers were right on their heels with 58. The offseason before had saw Indiana bring in future Hall of Famer Chris Mullin, although he was on his last legs, and also Indiana had a huge change at the head coaching spot as all-time legend Larry Bird replaced Larry Brown as the Pacers head coach. Indiana had yet to make the finals with their Reggie Miller core, but now with Larry Bird at the helm, they were looking to take the next step. They were out for some Eastern Conference Finals revenge, and both of these teams got to the Eastern Conference Finals with ease. The Chicago Bulls lost just 1 game in the first 2 rounds of the 1998 playoffs, sweeping the Nets in round 1 and taking down the Hornets in 5 in round 2. The Pacers were playing just as well. They only lost 1 game in the first round to the Cavs, they only lost 1 game in the second round to the Knicks, and just like that, we had an Eastern Conference conference finals matchup between two commanding Eastern Conference powers. Two teams that, when matched up against each other, would not disappoint. Heading into game one, the Indiana Daily Journal read, "Stage set for epic showdown," showing us just how much people believed in this Indiana Pacers team. From this article, quote, "On paper, the matchup looks like a wash," as the writer pointed out that the Bulls and Pacers had split the regular season series 2 games apiece. And this was new territory for the Bulls. Michael Jordan had not played in a Game 7 in general since the 1992 playoffs when the Knicks took the Bulls to 7 games. Chicago laid down the hammer in that Game 7 second round victory, but against Indiana, this series was going to be different. In Game 1, Reggie Miller started off hot with 7 points in the first quarter, and both Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen struggled. They looked off, shooting a combined 1 for 11 from the field. The Bulls would continue to have a tough half, trailing by 3 going into the break, but then in the second, Michael Jordan came alive. In the fourth quarter, the Bulls had broken through and taken a lead when with just 8 minutes and 50 seconds remaining. Dale Davis would score to put the Pacers down by just 1. It was here that Mike sensed it was time to take over. On the very next play, he drew a foul and made both free throws. Then after a stop, now up by 3, Mike sliced his way through the defense and
Jordan into the lane.
the very possession after this,
Playoff game of Jordan's career. To the hole, reverse, lost the foul.
this made free throw gave the Bulls an 8-point lead that they would never relinquish. Jordan hit more jumpers down the stretch, the Pacers couldn't buy a shot and kept turning the ball over, and Chicago took a 1-0 series lead as no one other than Michael Jordan scored 20 or more points, while Jordan had 25 points in the second half alone. Game 2 was a very similar story. The Pacers led by 7 points in the first half, Michael Jordan erupted for 14 points in the third quarter, and the Bulls did take a fourth quarter lead, but suddenly with under 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in this game, the Indiana Pacers made their move.
With less than 2.5 to go in the fourth. Mullen comes back with 2. It's nice to see the people who can stick it. Yes. And shoot the lead. Oh, what a gamble by Mark Jackson. And he leaves it for Miller. Miller for 2.
Now just up by 3 points, the Bulls went to who else but Michael Jordan.
And it goes for him.
Not only did Mike deliver here, but after a stop,
3 timeouts and a 20. Michael Jordan with a fall away. Oh, what a shot by Michael Jordan.
Jordan did it again. The Bulls took another 6-point win, and this series looked like it might be over before it even started. Only in Game 3, the Indiana Pacers had other plans. In another down-to-the-wire matchup, in Indiana up by 2 with under 4.5 minutes remaining, Reggie Miller rose up for a 3 that gave the Pacers a 5-point lead. Then he connected on another 3. Then another jumper fell, and suddenly with just under 90 seconds left in the game, Indiana was inbounding and
Foul away from joining Rodman. Miller for 3. That may have finished the Bulls.
another Reggie Miller 3. This one iced this game as the rest of Game 3 became a free throw battle, and Indiana made 6 straight free throws down the stretch. This series was not over. We had ourselves a Game 4. And through 3 quarters of Game 4, the Bulls quietly pushed the needle in their direction, taking an 8-point lead headed into the 4th. However, almost immediately, Jalen Rose connected on 2 3-pointers to cut the lead to just 3 points. This was going to be another battle. Indiana kept fighting, and after both Jordan and Dennis Rodman missed with just about 4.5 minutes left to go, suddenly,
A basket here could tie it. A 3 could give them the lead. McKee for the lead. Indiana by 1.
this game was going to come down to one possession. Tony Kukoc made a jumper from 19 feet to give Chicago the lead back. Travis Best answered with a 3 to give Indiana a 2-point advantage. Kukoc was there again with a 3, and then Michael Jordan would make this a 3-point game with a jump shot of his own. But the Pacers just wouldn't die. With 33 seconds left to go, Best made a layup that cut the lead to 1. And then after an offensive foul on Dennis Rodman, the Pacers turned the ball over. All Scottie Pippen had to do was make his free throws.
A miss.
You don't want to give up a second shot.
Missed them both. Loose ball out of bounds. Who's got it?
Instead, Pippen missed them both, and the Pacers still had a chance here.
Harper's on Miller. McKee gets it into Miller for the win. 4 tenths of a
Now the series was tied 2-2. Reggie Miller might actually take down Michael Jordan in his final games as a Bull. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and the Bulls in Game 5 played like a team that was desperate. They won by 19 points in a blowout, and now with just one game standing between them and the finals, it was again expected that Indiana would fall. Instead, we almost had a Game 6 disaster. With the score tied at 87-87 with under a minute left to go, the Chicago Bulls went to Michael Jordan.
Michael misses it.
A miss, and Travis Best took advantage on the other end, giving the Pacers a late lead. No worries, there was Michael Jordan to tie the game with 2 free throws late, only now.
Best to the basket, collides with Rodman. A whistle for a foul, and let's see who it's on.
A foul was called on Michael Jordan down the stretch of this game, and Best made both free throws. Now the Bulls could lose, now the game was on the line. Jordan got the ball again.
Watch Kukoc on the penetration.
It's Michael. That's the guy to watch. He stumbles and loses it. McKee has it. The Pacers and the Bulls will take it to the limit.
Michael Jordan falls to the ground, no call is made, and the Pacers not only force a Game 7, but we just watched Michael Jordan fail down the stretch of this game. The pressure in Game 7 was even greater than we originally imagined. If Mike had just performed down the stretch of Game 6, the Bulls would already be in the finals. But instead, we find ourselves in Game 7. Under 7 minutes left to go, Michael Jordan's career as a Bull could be over. But at this point in his life, Mike knew he could rely on his teammates. First came the shot to tie it.
Defenders can't put it down. Loose ball tipped out to Pippen. Kerr can tie it and does.
A huge Steve Kerr 3, and then came redemption for Longley himself. Years before, Longley missed a very clutch shot. Now in Game 7 against the Pacers, his shot went in. And with just about 2 minutes left to go in this game, it was Scottie Pippen's turn to take the ball, and he went to work.
Driving, throws up a little hook.
An N1 that almost cemented this game, but the Bulls defense still needed to show up. And they did, forcing a turnover with 1 minute and 22 seconds remaining. And then, with a 4-point lead, the Pacers had a chance to cut this to 1 with under 30 seconds left when
McKee out near midcourt. McKee for 3. It's long. And Michael is there.
the Indiana Pacers' force 3 was off. The Chicago Bulls hung on. The Bulls were officially your 1998 Eastern Conference Finals champions. They had not let one of the rarest occurrences in basketball, a Michael Jordan Game 7, get to them. But as we just saw, we really were that close. Michael Jordan almost ended his Bulls years, almost ended his NBA legacy on a loss that would be remembered forever. Instead, this game became just a footnote. The Bulls would go on to win the 1998 finals in 6 games, defeating the Utah Jazz again, as the 1998 playoffs will be remembered for one thing.
From Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead.
A shot that not only gave the Bulls their 6th championship, but also gave them their 2nd three-peat. The perfect end to a perfect career is the story that we all remember, but what we'll never forget is just how close Reggie Miller and the Indiana Pacers came to ruining Michael Jordan's perfect end, to rewriting history before our very eyes.